At the start of the story, we are shown a house deep inside the forest, where an old lady is seen washing blood-soaked clothes. There are photos of her 2 children in the house. Just then, a postman arrives outside the house and knocks on the gate, but the lady doesn't come out. The postman assumes no one is home, so he starts to leave, but then, he hears some strange noises coming from the basement. Curious, he puts his bag aside and looks into the basement, where he sees something so terrifying that it leaves him completely horrified. He tries to run away, but before he can escape, something drags him into the basement. The story jumps 30 years ahead. Now, in the same forest, we see a camp. This camp is for teenagers who are obsessed with their phones. The camp is set up to help them get rid of their phone addiction. Upon arriving at the camp, the manager collects everyone's phones. That woman is also shown in the same house, who, 30 years ago, was washing blood-soaked clothes. She hunts a deer and throws it into the basement, where something strange still lurks. But this time, her foot slips, and she falls into the basement herself. Whatever creature lives in the basement kills her and escapes. The next morning, at the camp, the teenagers prepare for a 3-day trekking trip. They are joined by a guide. Before they leave, a priest comes to pray for their safety. Their trekking is quite long, which will last for 3 days. And now, all of them are starting their journey. Among the teenagers is a girl named Zosha, who has a strange scar on her arm that she's trying to hide from everyone. Zosha is also battling depression. A boy named Zulek approaches her and tries to talk to her, but Zosha doesn't pay him much attention. As they continue their trek, the group spots a deer. The deer had just been hunted by someone. The guide says that there must be a big animal nearby, which could return anytime. However, the guide has actually observed that this wasn't done by an animal, but most likely by a human. She keeps this information to herself and chooses to ignore it. The group continues their journey the whole day. At night, they set up camp at a spot. The guide is also their counselor, and none of the teenagers know each other from before. The purpose of this trek is to help them break their addiction to mobile phones. The guide tries to motivate them to open up and bond. While they are talking, a wolf suddenly appears. Everyone gets scared, but Zosha doesn't. She bravely chases the wolf away, and then everyone goes to sleep. Later that night, one of the boys sneaks out. He had hidden his phone and still had it with him. As he scrolls through social media, a strange, human-like creature appears. This is no ordinary human. The creature kills the boy and drags him away. Meanwhile, Zosha has a nightmare about the time she was in a car with her mom. Her mom wanted to take a selfie, which led to their car accident. Zosha suddenly wakes up from sleep. The next morning, the guide is searching for the missing boy, the same boy who was killed by the creature last night. She asks everyone if they've seen him. Zosha finds blood stains on a nearby tree and shows to the group, saying they need to find him as soon as possible. Zosha, Julek, and the guide decided to search the forest and eventually reach the old lady's house, the same lady who had kept something locked in her basement. The 3 of them go inside, where a terrible stench fills the air. They find the basement door and bravely go down. There, they find the dead body of their missing friend, killed by the creature the previous night. Terrified, they rush back upstairs, but before they can escape, the monstrous creature appears. They all run back into the basement. The guide helps Zosha and Julek escape through a window, but before she can climb out herself, the creature grabs her and kills her. Zosha and Julek flee into the forest. Meanwhile, by the lakeside, 2 other teenagers from the group are sitting, unaware of what's happening. Suddenly, the creature appears and kills the girl. The boy panics and runs for his life. Running desperately, he reaches a church, where the same priest who prayed for them earlier is present. Instead of helping him, the priest knocks the boy unconscious. When the boy wakes up, he finds himself tied to a chair, completely confused. The priest says, "I know exactly how to fix kids like you from this new generation." Just then, the church's generator turns on by itself. The priest goes outside to check, but it was the creature who activated it, the same creature that had been chasing the boy. The creature kills the priest and then enters the church. The boy tries to hide in the confession room, but the creature finds him and drags him away. Meanwhile, on the other side, we see Zosha and Zulek trying to escape and save their lives. While running, they spot a house ahead and decide to go there. At the front door, they meet an old man who invites them inside. Although they're scared of him, they have no other option, so they enter the house. The old man says, "I know what you're running from." The man tells them that many years ago, a lady used to live here with her 2 sons. One day, a meteor fell in the nearby forest. The lady's sons found the meteor and brought it home. That night, they kept the meteor under their pillows, and a strange liquid leaked from it, which entered their bodies. This liquid started changing them. They began to transform from humans into monsters. They even killed their dog. When their mother found out, she locked both her sons in the basement. If they've escaped now, it means means their mother has died. The old man reveals that there isn't just one creature, but two. Until now, Zosha and Zulek thought there was only one monster. The old man, who is telling them this story, is actually the same postman who visited the lady's house 30 years ago. Although the monsters dragged him into the basement, somehow he managed to survive. The old man tells them they can stay in his house if they want. But Zosha doesn't want to stay. She is determined to escape this forest at any cost. She remembers that their first friend, the boy who was killed, still has his mobile phone, which is in the basement of that house. If they can somehow retrieve it, they can call for help. The nearest town is a 2-day walk from here, and if they try to go on foot, the monsters could kill them before they reach safety. So, Zosha decides to go back to the basement to get the phone. Zulek tries to stop her, but she doesn't listen, so he has no choice but to go with her. Once again, they reach the old house and somehow make it down to the basement. They manage to find the phone, but the creature spots them. It grabs Zosha by the neck and lifts her into the air. Just then, Zulek stabs the creature from behind with a knife, which enrages it. The creature pulls the knife out and stabs Zulek with the same knife, driving it deep into his body. Zosha passes out. When she regains consciousness, she sees Zulek in front of her, badly injured, writhing in pain. He begs Zosha to pull the knife out of him. Zosha knows that if she does, Zulek will die, but she also knows there's no other option. So, with a heavy heart, she pulls the knife out, and Zulek dies. Zosha is completely shattered because everyone who came to the camp with her has been killed. Now, somehow, she manages to free herself from the chains and slowly makes her way upstairs, where she sees one of the monsters sleeping. It turns out that one monster hunts while the other stays home. Zosha slowly grabs a large knife, creeps closer, and kills the monster. Then she runs from the house. Eventually, she reaches a road, where she spots a ranger's vehicle patrolling. The ranger sees her and stops. Josiane runs to him and tells him everything. The ranger is shocked, but believes her and lets her into his car. As they drive away, the ranger notices a dead body lying on the road. He stops to check. Zosha begs him not to go outside. However, the ranger ignores her and steps out of the car. As he approaches the body, the second monster, the one that was out hunting, appears and kills the ranger. The monster had used the body as bait. Meanwhile, we see the old postman at his house. Someone knocks on his door, and thinking it's the monster, he fires his gun. But when he checks, it's the boy who has been taken from the church. Somehow, the boy managed to escape, but now he's dead. Back on the road, Zosha gets behind the wheel of the ranger's car. She runs the monster over with the vehicle. Then, to make sure it's dead, she repeatedly drives over it until it's completely crushed. Finally, she drives away. That night, on the same road, we see two drunk men walking, celebrating Hitler's birthday for some reason. They stumble across the monster's body, but it turns out the monster is still alive. It kills both of them. The scene shifts back to the house, where we see that the monster's brother, the second creature, is still alive. This means killing them isn't easy. The powers they received from the meteorite are alien, far beyond normal human strength. They will have to find another way to kill him. The monster inside the house hears the sound of a police car arriving outside, which means the police have reached the area, and now, the monster will kill all of them too. And with this, the movie comes to an end. We hope you enjoyed this story.